afternoon, welcome back to this week's studio vlog. I hope you're all well. So join me in my kitchen. I'm now about to sit and make some little chocolatey cinnamon biscuity things because I've already this morning sat and done my daily doodles, and I've also done quite a bit of planning and organising and stuff like that. So I'll show you the little daily doodles a little bit later on because they've drawn out some little squirrels and I think they could make some like really nice little Christmassy type illustrations. So a bit later on I'm going to sit and try and turn them into some Christmassy illustrations, but I'm having a little bit of a break now, so I'm going to sit and make some nice little biscuits and then get on with some work after that. So I've already got my ingredients out for this biscuit recipe. It's just going to be chocolatey cinnamony biscuity thing. I just feel like having something kind of like autumny and a nice cup of tea to go with it. So yeah, I'm going to make some chocolatey cinnamon biscuits. So it needs butter, sugar, flour, cocoa powder, cinnamon and an egg. So 170 grams of plain flour. So 85 grams of cocoa powder. So 1 teaspoon cinnamon. This mixture to one side. 170 grams of butter. 170 grams of sugar. The main aim for this week's studio vlog is I really want to start developing some of my daily doodles into illustrations and products and possibly like Christmassy card designs. It is probably going to start getting a little bit like festive feeling in my vlogs over the next few weeks because I'm getting excited for Christmas, and I love like this countdown period between October and December. I've got some paintings I want to carry on with and hopefully try and get a bit more finished. I've got a little commission sample that I want to get on with because I want to start advertising for Christmas commissions. So I think the first thing that I want to quickly do though is do something to do with my little squirrel doodles that I've worked on today. So let me just quickly show you them. So these are my little squirrel doodles that I've worked on today. So I've done quite a lot today. I was a bit of like on a mission doing them. So on this little squirrel, I've done some little squirrels here, a few more squirrels, and then this little squirrel here. So yeah, I've had quite a busy old day of painting a load of little squirrels. There was one running around outside my bedroom window, so that kind of gave me the inspiration to sit and do some little squirrels. I did also have a couple of other squirrels already sketched out and painted from the other day. And what I want to do next is try and turn them into like a bit more of a Christmassy illustration. So this one here, for example, he's carrying like a load of little straw and stuff at the moment, but I've got a feeling that if like I turned it into like wrapping paper or like a Christmas present or something like that, it could end up being quite a nice little Christmassy style illustration. I'm gonna get out some tracing paper and a pen. I'm probably not going to paint these ideas, but I'm just going to trace over them with like a pen and a pencil and just see what happens and see what comes of it. Okay, so a quick little update. I've just been going all over my little squirrel doodles and tracing over the top of them and turning them into little Christmas illustration ideas and also Halloween illustration ideas. This is kind of more like a mind mapping session really that I was doing, so they're not like final piece ideas. I think what I'll probably end up doing is actually scanning the originals into Photoshop and then drawing like the designs on Photoshop, but these are just kind of like a little visual way of just exploring some ideas that I had for the different illustrations. So I've got a few little ones here of like a little squirrel holding some wrapping paper, so I can see how that would look roughly sketched out. I've also got like an idea for the same squirrel but holding like a Christmas pudding. It could also be like an autumn pie or a pumpkin or something like that. What else did I do? I've got a little idea for, I really like these two. These two I'm definitely going to have to end up doing on Photoshop because they're like my favourite ideas. So I've got, it's basically the same squirrel, but I've got this one which is like a little squirrel who is a witch, and she's holding a little pumpkin, a little candlelight on a big old broom. And then this one is more like a Christmassy one, where the squirrel is holding some little baubles and is balancing on a Christmas tree branch and is gradually decorating their little Christmas tree. And then I've got these other little Halloween or Christmassy ideas. So I've got a little squirrel holding a present and dragging along a Christmas tree and carrying a pumpkin in a basket and stuff like that. So yeah, I had quite a bit of fun just kind of coming up with a few little ideas there. As I say, they're not the final pieces obviously. What I'll end up doing is scanning the original drawings into Photoshop and then using like a graphic pen or graphic tablet, like sketching out my ideas, and then I'll probably end up printing them out and hand painting them and stuff like that. But yeah, it's a good way of just coming up with a few little Christmassy, Halloweeny ideas to do with the little squirrel doodles that I've done today. Okay, good afternoon. So it's a couple of days later now. I'm currently just sitting outside in my garden because it's a gorgeous sunny autumny afternoon today, and I'm hoping to get a little bit of gardening done just before I get any work done. I've got quite a few little like violas laying around. I've got these ones here, and also some other little violas that I need to try and make some room for in my garden. So I need to today I need to dig up a few like plants which are coming to the end of their like seasoning. So I've got some courgettes to dig up, cucumbers to dig up. I've got to pick a load of tomatoes because they've all gone like ripened and gone nice and red, so I've got loads of tomatoes to pick. But then I also need to dig up the actual tomato plant because I think it's coming to the end of its like produce season. And yeah, just have a bit of a tidy up so I can then start working out where I'm going to put like my violas. I've also got some cyclamens that I need to plant as well. So yeah, I'm going to have a bit of a potter around out here in the garden and then get on with some work this afternoon. I have also brought out my little sketchbook just in case I want to do a bit of drawing out in the garden. But yeah, I'm just going to get this done first and then go on from there. Okay, so it's a little bit later on now. I'm now back in my room after doing a little bit of gardening. I also had a bit of a chill out and watched Strictly Come Dancing and a few other little programs and stuff, but I now want to get on with some painting. Not gonna lie, I didn't quite get as much gardening done as I wanted to because I got very distracted by all of like the little pretty flowers and stuff like that, so I decided to sit and draw them instead. So let me just quickly show you what I ended up drawing out in the garden. So yeah, these are the little doodles that I sat and done whilst I was out in the garden. So these were the little peppers on my little pepper plants. I was actually quite shocked that there was anything growing on them, to be honest. So when I did see some peppers growing on them, I was like, oh, I'm going to have to draw them now. So yeah, I sat and drew some of the little peppers from my pepper plant. There's another few peppers. And then I also sat and drew the little pansies and violas that were laying around on my little picnic table. I still need to plant them, but we decided we need to get some more top-up soil and some better pots and things to plant them in. So I decided to sit and draw them instead. Did I draw anything else? Oh yeah, I drew some little cyclamens as well because I've got some cyclamens to plant. So yeah, I had a nice little sketching session outside in the garden, but I now need to get on with some work. But yeah, I now want to sit and work on some of my paintings. So I've obviously got my big peacock painting I want to sit and work on. I've got my enchanted forest illustration I want to try and finish off. And I've also then got some like portraits and my little Aussie portrait that I started working last night on. But yeah, I've just got quite a bit of painting to do, so I'm going to go get myself a nice little cuppa, get myself nice and comfy and get on with some work. Good afternoon. So it is now Sunday. So I've just sat and spent a bit of this morning working on a little daily doodle. I decided to draw a little fox doodle just because I thought it'd go quite well with my little enchanted forest illustration that I was working on last night. And also I've got some other little fox doodles which I've done earlier on in my sketchbook. I like to have a selection of different doodles of the same animal, so that when I come to develop designs and products and stuff like that, I have a few different illustrations to choose from. So yeah, this is my little fox doodle that I've been working on today. I really quite like this one. It's more, it reminds me of a little children's book fox character. I think it's just because it's the expression and the way it's looking. I think you can imagine it looking at a bird or an owl, or just looking up at the moon or something like that. So yeah, I really quite like this little fox illustration. But what I want to do now is go and scan in all of these little squirrel doodles that I've been working on recently, because I want to try and do the thing where I develop them into the Christmas and Halloween designs that I started planning the other night. Okay, so I've just been working on these little concept designs using Photoshop. So what I've done was I scanned in my little squirrel images and then kind of took out any backgroundy stuff and made it so that I started drawing my little design ideas on top. So this is my little flying squirrel. So he's turned into a little witch and carrying a little pumpkin, is flying through the sky on its bendy broom, carrying a little candle. So yeah, that is one little design which I've sketched the outline for. I've then done this little one here where he's carrying some wrapping paper, and I've started putting some little designs on the wrapping paper. I think I'm going to put some acorns onto one of them, but I might end up doing that by hand. And then the other one is this little Christmassy one where I decided that he's going to be like a little squirrel who's a bit confused and thinks that these acorn baubles are actually proper acorns. So he's kind of come to nick all the little acorn baubles from the Christmas tree, because you can sometimes get little acorn ones. And I think he's just a very confused little squirrel. He's picking some of the baubles. But yeah, they all need, this one especially needs to be refined a little bit. So I need to zoom in and kind of draw some of the pine a bit better on the Christmas tree. But yeah, as a little concept, they're quite sweet. And then I think what I'll probably do is print them out. And what is quite good with Photoshop is I can kind of, let me just quickly show you. So I'll show you on this one. If I want to get rid of the actual squirrel image, I can just make it disappear and then just end up doing it. So I just paint these bits. I like to paint them by hand, to be honest, rather than on Photoshop. There's nothing, I like painting on Photoshop is actually alright, but I just prefer to do it all by hand. So what I'll probably do is print it out, trace over them, and then kind of work into them by hand, and then then I'll scan them back in again and then edit it once it's back in on the computer. So yeah, I've had quite a bit of fun doing that. It's something I want to do more of, is actually turn my little doodles into illustrations. So yeah, I'm really happy with them. So I'm just gonna make sure I've saved them all properly and then get on with some painting.